Good morning, Jeff, Paula, Michelle, and Ray. I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me this morning regarding a pressing problem at the Simon Companies, and that is the encryption of email program that we presently use. As you well know, email encryption is required whenever personal health information is present in an email. It's required by state and federal law, by HIPAA, by the California Privacy Act, by our clients, and by URAC, who we face an audit from coming up in the next 3 months. The system that we presently use to encrypt email is inadequate, and there's a heavy penalty for non-compliance with these rules and regulations. For URAC, the penalty is simply non-certification, and non-certification would mean we'd have to close a portion of our business. The purpose of this proposal is to present a pathway to the improvement of the email encryption system, and I'll include a detailed description of the problem and a proposed solution. And you can see the scope of the problem here. In just 1 quarter, the Simon Company sends out almost 5,500 emails that would require encryption, and another 2,140 that do not. The penalties, as I mentioned, for inaction are severe. In just a quarter, if we had no solution at all, the maximum potential fine could be up to $13.5 million. If the state found that a willful violation, that would increase to more than $40 million. Of course, that would damage our business significantly. If URAC, again, as I mentioned, were to find us non-compliant, they would simply not certify us, and to do business in California, we need to be certified. So there's a sense of urgency to this problem, a sense of urgency to resolve the issue. Now, the system that we have, we've been in a couple of different places here. The initial system we put in encrypted everything. That caused a great deal of concern from our clients who struggled to read emails, to access the encryption program. The physicians that we work with complained many things were missed, many emails and communications that were important were missed because it was difficult to access. We moved to a voluntary system in the middle of last year. It requires the adjuster to actively identify that this specific email needs to be encrypted. The system is sort of a piecemeal system that was put in place, and yes, recent surveys showed that the reasons that it wasn't being used primarily were the adjusters or nurses forgot to use it, the system is not intuitive, and there was insufficient training. What's critical to remember is that the current system also doesn't contain any kind of back-end reporting situation, so we're unable to review which users aren't using the encryption properly, how many emails are going out unencrypted that should have been encrypted, and there's no way to identify any improvement, any ways to improve. So the system is, as we're kind of have outgrown what we're using. In order to resolve this problem, I compared a number of different solutions. One would be the reintroduction of our current system with additional training. Second would be to outsource the problem to AdTech, to transfer the risk to AdTech, our outside IT vendor. And the third would be to use a cloud-based system. And you can see the results here. These items were ranked 1 through 5, with 5 being the best. And I evaluated the solutions based on cost, on client satisfaction, on ease of use, on training, on some sort of a fail-safe mechanism that protects us in case someone does forget to use the system, and the time to implementation. As you can see from these columns, the cloud-based system represents the best overall solution. There are multiple cloud-based systems. We've narrowed the field down to 4 or 5 that share similar features. All of them include a reporting system in the back end, customized reporting, a fail-safe system, and the cost is significantly lower than the penalties for non-use, and is based on a per user, per email fee. It's in the pennies per email rather than in the millions of dollars. The solutions matrix gives you a little better picture of the different options. Improving the current system was the least expensive option. It would actually cost us nothing, but it doesn't guarantee compliance. It requires additional manpower for training and for monitoring. And the other positive would be that there would be no implementation delay as it's already installed. The real drawback to solution number one is it would continue to have no real followable audit trail, no actionable audit trail where we could figure out why it wasn't being used, when it wasn't being used, and that come audit time is a real challenge. Outsourcing the problem to AdTech sounded great because it transfers the risk immediately to someone else. The problem with AdTech is the cost would be unknown. They would put in a solution. Once we said this is your issue, they would put in a solution that they chose, and that cost could be quite high or quite low. It's an unknown factor. But we would lose any internal control of the system. Now that's happened in a couple of different iterations as we've transferred reporting and those kinds of things to them. We've ultimately taken those pieces back because the internal control is important when our clients need customizations. The other problem with AdTech at this point is the time to implementation. Their projects are backlogged by 6 to 9 months, and our audit with URAC is in 9 months. We don't have the time to wait for a project of this magnitude. Now, the outsourced to a third-party vendor, the cost is reasonable. As I mentioned, it is pennies on the email charge, but that can be only for those people who are sending the encrypted emails. And our company, presently, that's about 10 people out of the total number of employees, and then it's a per email cost basis. The systems are easy to monitor. We can see exactly how many emails were encrypted, how many weren't, how many should have been based on the type of attachment that was attached. Now, that's an interesting thing because option 3 also includes a fail-safe where we can have any email with an attachment that was not encrypted sent to a supervisor to review prior to it being sent out to make sure that if encryption was necessary, it's turned on. Now that adds a little bit of work potentially to the supervisor's plate, but it's a fail-safe that protects us from substantial penalties and the potential loss of business. Finally, these can be implemented in a rapid time frame, a total of 60 days from the date that you make the decision. Implementation will require a 30-day period to evaluate the options, the pricing, and the capabilities of all of the available cloud-based solutions. A team of 7 people, including project manager, nurses, and adjusters, will be formed as a software advisory team. And once chosen, the implementation is expected to take an additional 30 days, including installation, customization, training, and a soft go-live period to ensure all the bugs are worked out. Training will be hands-on using a test email system, and then 1 week prior to go live, there will be additional training, and then a soft go live where we can work out all of those bugs. Because the new software represents change, the project manager will adhere to acknowledged change management principles throughout the process. The final stage is monitoring using the customizations to the reporting that we designed in implementation. Reports will be emailed to supervisors on a monthly, quarterly, and annual basis, and included as part of our quarterly management review. The reports will show by user any issues, the number of emails that had been kicked out into the fail-safe, and the total number of emails that are being encrypted versus not. Once implementation is complete, we move to the training, monitoring, and reporting phase. Training will be ongoing as individuals use the process. We'll be training a super user who will be able to answer questions and problems on the claims floor and on the nursing staff floor. Customizations during installation will generate a system of reports that include the number of emails sent, the number encrypted, the number with attachments, the number of encrypted attachments. The data will be sorted by user. This will be great because we'll be able to use these reports that highlight the number of potential breaches, the number of supervisor overrides based on the fail-safe, and incorporate those into performance reviews. All these reports we'll be able to review during our quarterly management meetings, and supervisors will have access to that data on a monthly basis. I appreciate your time today. I think it's important that we move forward in correcting this problem. I feel that we understand the sense of urgency around it, and I ask that you help me to build a broad-based coalition to get the process started and resolved prior to our URAC audit later this year. Thank you.